The world was different back in the first century of the Common Age. People really believed in miracles, in the supernatural, to a point where one could really walk among saints, to be visited by angels, or to be harassed by demons. There was not a drop of doubt in what God could do. He was everywhere, he was omnipresent. The blinded could be healed, people could be resurrected, and monks could walk with Jesus Christ in the flesh. But let's talk of the demons for this chapter, shall we? This was a topic that obsessed the writers of the time, because demons were as real as the moon and the sun. They walked the earth, they set people astray with their words and natural seduction, and they were in constant war with the saints and the souls of the mortals that live in the world. And against these demons, the Christian writers armed the people with the tools to banish them wherever they appear, describing them, letting their names be known, so one could expel them from one's mind. And this last part is important. The demons were now the source of the evil doing of men. Men were no longer the creators of their own nightmares. This was the work of the underlings of Satan. The early Christendom took away the responsibility for one's own actions. Everything was the doing of evil spirits that clouded one's judgment. But although these demons seem important, especially the demons of a more lustful nature, the ones which tortured the monks in particular, they weren't the more important to attack. The more powerful ones, the more influential, were the ones who dwelled in the Roman temples, the ones who lived inside the statues of the old gods. They were the true evil, they were deceiving humanity with their fake divinity and their full intent. Their motive was simple, they wanted followers, and the followers provided sacrifices, which were their source of nourishment. And in exchange they used their demonic powers, the fast travel amongst them, to create oracles that gave predictions that were true because they were able to see beyond what humans could. They were capable to fly to faraway lands in an instant and read the climate of these places. The Christians say that if someone were to sneak into a temple in the middle of the night, they will hear the whispers of the demons plotting the demise of mankind. Also, during these centuries, the Christian preachers began to obsess with the concept of purity. A Christian couldn't have any contact with the smoke, the water, the meat, or the blood of sacrifices done by pagans. If they do so, they will condemn themselves to eternal damnation. Saint Augustine went so far as to tell a fellow Christian that, if it was a matter of life or death, he should choose death over entering in contact with anything that came from a pagan temple, even if this was water in the middle of the desert or food in a time of famine. Everything Roman was tainted by pagan worship, and thus a Christian should run away from any Roman establishment. One could not be in the gladiator games, attend to the Senate, nor in any other place where the spectacle was preceded by a sacrifice, and thus the Christians began to isolate themselves in their own little world. And what a privileged world it was, because they were right, the others were mistaken, they were the good guys, the others were bad ones, they were evil even. Slowly but surely, the Christians were becoming the bogeyman of the ancient world. They weren't tolerant like the pagans, they were zealot, focused on only one goal: destroy the demons that were misguiding humanity, and put the innocent back into God's hands. And they were aghast when the pagans added the god to their pantheon, treating him like a big deity to which asked for grand things, but leaving the small ones to the pagan gods. For example, asking about a sheep to come back to the flock, or to heal a cranky knee. That was something that Apollo needed to take care of, not God. But Saint Augustine had another way to tell the crowd, because he said, "He himself gives life to your chickens," trying to win them over to only have one God. But the Christians didn't see themselves as irrational or zealots. No, they were the heroes. Their intolerance was the tool with which to save those poor souls trapped by the mirage the demons presented them. And Christianity, being this clear in its laws and tenets, started to spread like a plague. The world was changing, says St. Augustine. Strepitus mundi. You have to wake up to the Strepitus mundi. To your knowledge, Strepitus mundi is the sound of the world moving in one direction, the sound of a flooded river, of a mob. If you were to stand in its way or against it, you were in for a bad time.